the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. My name is Brian Wallace, and I am the MS Michigan Man 64. The MS Michigan Man 64 podcast is about chronic disease awareness. I have had multiple sclerosis for the last 27 years. It's an invisible chronic disease that I've been battling for half of my life. I want to share with you what it is like living with the chronic disease from my experiences and the experiences of other chronic disease warriors. We can fight to have a voice to those that want to listen. Together, we can motivate and educate. Hi, and welcome to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. Today, this is going to be a good episode. I am sitting down with another Division I football player, which is pretty badass. Two football players with MS talking to each other. The awesome thing about this is that this football player, Division I football player, is a Ohio State fan. And when he contacted me, I'm like, oh, shit, he played for Ohio State. But he didn't play for Ohio State, but he played for just about the next best thing. He played for Jim Tressel at Youngstown State University. He was a linebacker. I want to welcome to the podcast, Jeff. How you doing today, Jeff?
Great, Brian, and I greatly appreciate this. As we were talking earlier, the synchronicities of what me and you say, God has put us together. And it's beautiful to be able to really share what we're both going through and so many other people that are going through with MS.
I hear you.
So I welcome you there. I just thank you so much for letting me be a part of this this movement of awareness with MS.
I appreciate you joining me, Jeff. Like I said, when you contacted me, I was really excited. When you told me you played D1 football, I got so many good questions for you. It's going to be a fun interview. So, Jeff, you got MS. We'll talk about football here and there because we're going to have some fun. Because I played for the legendary Bo, and I'm going to consider Jim Tressel a legend because he did a hell of a job at Ohio State, and just to have a chance to play for a coach like that, kudos to you, because I know what it feels like playing for Lloyd, Carr, and Bo, and Moeller, Gary Moeller, and all the Les Miles. I mean, I get it, but what I want to know is you got diagnosed with MS just like me. You're a linebacker. I know how the offensive side of the ball handled it. I want to hear how the linebacker started the ball, or the linebacker handled this disease. Tell me how you got diagnosed, what your symptoms were, and we'll go from there, buddy.
Great. Well, as the linebacker, we on the field probably have the biggest egos. We want the ball. We're stingy. We don't like to lose. And we're playing against a group of people on the opposite side, usually linemen. And if you look at GPAs across the board, and my son will agree, as
offensive linemen are the smartest ones on the board.
Are the smartest ones on the group. Yeah. And your quarterback usually.
Yeah.
So we had to be more of an aggressive through life as it is to play that position, because you are playing at 220 or whatever the case may be, and you got a guy 305, 285 pulling, can run a 5'2", hitting you. You better be smart. So yes, what it's done to me is on the defensive side, it's a challenge. I got to win the game.
Yeah.
I think that's when you get to a level like you played and when I played, it's no longer just being on the team. You got to win. And as my father always told me, son, there's three ways you can watch a game of football. You can watch it from the stands or on TV. That's one. You can watch it from the sidelines, or you can watch it on the field, but you pick it.
Yep.
Why would you go through all this hard work just to stand there and watch what you've worked for? So I'm all about, let's get 1% better each day. And that's something I live by now. You'll see on a lot of my tags, it'll say BMHS. And that's what I work on each day. It's called body, mind, heart, and soul.
Love it.
And And I believe if I work on those through what I'm doing through my journey in life, and doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. I've learned through my journey with MS, through what's happening through me, that my life's changing right in front of me for the best. And it's the most unique. I wish I could bottle it up and give it away, but that's for something that we can really get deep into it.
Yeah.
But getting back to how MS, how I was affected, I was diagnosed with MS in 2003, and I just first moved to Texas. We moved here in 1999 December, so we going into that year, we've only been here a few months. But my incidents first happened in 2001, and I knew something was happening with my eyesight. I knew I just wasn't feeling right, and I was doing some traveling around South Texas. I stopped by the J.C. Penney store ophthalmologist to just check my eyes while I was coming into town. And as I was sitting there, he kept looking at me, then looking in the machine, looking at me. He finally asked me, "Do you have someone that can take you home?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I cannot legally let you drive." I said, "What are you talking? I'm not, no, what's going on?" I'm getting really upset because that's back then when I had my just temper and didn't know what's going on. I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
And he says, "Your optic nerves are so swelled up." So my wife found, and like I say, we're new. So she don't know where the malls, the hospitals are. No, we just really haven't got that far. We just got into our new home and little kids, little babies. I mean, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And don't know anyone in town, no neighbors, no family, nothing. And one day, I knew I wasn't feeling right, but I went to a customer and I started to walk upstairs to where his office is, and I felt something, and they looked at me. I said, I started to stutter, and I said, "I'll be back." Mm-hmm. And this was my best customer.
Yeah.
Got to my car. I lived 30 minutes away, not really knowing how to get back through the quickest way. By the time I got home, my wife looked at me and like, "What is wrong?" I sat on the couch, and then my left side, I had kind of I did have paralysis.
Yeah.
She happened, just thank God, we had a guy that owned an ambulance service up the street. She went up and got them, long story short. They took me to the hospital. I was there for I don't know how many days. They were running EKGs, contrast, NGOs, just anything they can do. Get out. Couple months going through it, trying to figure it out. I was drinking alcohol at the time, and I felt myself trying to get into that feeling sorry for me. And I thought, drinking,
Yeah.
So I started, just kind of doing things for that self-sabotage and not self-help.
Yeah.
Gets another call one day. I don't know who I'm calling or how it went, but this guy looks like he's drunk or something, passed out, and my wife said, "That's my husband. He has MS." I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're
and
good.
They had to come get me again, and they went back in the hospital. Still going through all the symptoms, and they don't know. Went to Herman Medical. He sends me back, and in 2003, they finally said, "You have MS," and it was funny. Well, it's not funny, but it was funny. Being a dyslexic and don't really know what MS meant or was, I looked at him, I said, "So I'm one of Jerry's kids?" He said, "No." And he's Russian or whatever he was. He didn't speak real well. Yeah. And the nurses said, "No, that's muscular dystrophy." I'm like, "Oh, see, so people don't know." And that's the awareness. We're not MD, we're MS. And totally different similarities, but totally different.
Right.
And so they tell me that, and okay, that goes along, and then they get me on a shot. So 21 years ago, called Rebif.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, now in my life, would not wish that upon anyone, any of my enemies. It was every other day. I would give myself a shot, and it would make me deathly sick. So if it was 110 in San Antonio, I'd be wearing sweats and I couldn't sleep. So my wife couldn't sleep at night, and she would sometimes sleep in other rooms because I'd be moaning and just moving.
Yeah.
And finally, I just said, I can't do this. I'm going to figure out how to beat MS Jeff's way.
Yeah.
Because is my personality as an MS, it is a person with dyslexia. I've always had the challenges, and it's the funniest thing that the challenges, I think, now that I understand spiritually what those are, it's not the hurt, only if you don't listen and learn.
Yeah.
If he throws you a challenge of being patient, we'll just use that. You ask whoever you ask, Scott, people say, give me patience. You know what he does to you? He gives you the longest traffic jam you ever seen in your life because you asked him, give me patience. Now I'm giving you a situation to be patient.
Yeah.
So that's what's helped me kind of getting through all this. And then once I got diagnosed and, figuring, okay, cut back on the drinking, which I didn't. I didn't want to believe I had MS,
right.
Brian.
Yeah.
More than anything, because I always said to myself, maybe they've misdiagnosed and just passed me through for the insurance money. Just, we'll give him this and we'll rack up on him. We'll use him as guinea pig type thing. Let me go back a little bit. They did, I think, 3 spinal taps on me. I wouldn't wish that on anyone in my life. Mine was done under an X-ray to where I was passing out, and it was crazy.
I couldn't get through my spinal tap, Jeff. I couldn't get through it. I literally, I fractured a couple of vertebrae when I played up in Ann Arbor, and when they wanted to do that spinal tap, I told the neuro, I'm like, hey, just a FYI, I got 2 fractured vertebrae back there. I don't even think he really paid attention to me, but when he put that needle in, I almost jumped off the table, and I gave him another couple of tries at it, and I couldn't do it. I'm like, no, I can't do it. There's no way in the world I'm going to make it through this. There's no way. And I basically walked away from the disease for like 9 months, until I finally got diagnosed in October. After everything just started like spiraling down, my vision went all whacked out, and I couldn't see. I couldn't, tell the difference between red, yellow, and green at a stoplight. And that's when I'm like, no, shit, man, there's really something going on. And they got that MRI, and the neurologist's like, you got MS. So I'm like, all right, game on. Let's attack this thing. What do we got to do now?
Yeah. Show me the game film of the opponents.
Right. Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to look for. And it's a crazy thing. So after all, they get that underdone. And I'm going in and out of dealing with MS, with stress and anxiety through jobs, and just pouring more onto my body that I should. One day I was traveling a lot, so anything you see on any news channel about the border and all that was my territory. So from Eagle Pass to Laredo to Del Rio, to Mission, Edinburgh, all the way into Brownsville. I knew every spot you saw. I know, because that's where I used to travel.
Yeah. So
one Sunday evening, I came out of my house to go check my car to make sure I didn't, I had everything I needed, be safe and everything. And I just had a t-shirt, flip-flops, and shorts on. And I just kept walking. And the neighbors, my wife, they don't know where I was. My wife's looking in our pool, just like, what the hell? Where'd he go? No phone, no nothing. And I just started walking. They found me in the next neighborhood, just walking. Don't know why. I don't know. So the police end up showing up, all these people showing up. And next thing you know, they're taking me to the hospital. And they put me in the hospital. And they start running all the tests. Well, lo and behold, right after that, I caught H. pylori. And H. pylori, if you know, it's caught by dirty water. Well, I caught it down in Brownsville. The next trip I went down, I lost 11 pounds in 2 days because it was basically in my intestines. And we thought it was the MS. So I had to do the bag test, and they finally says, you have H. pylori. It's from brushing my teeth. It's a hotel down there, water, not thinking it's a brand new hotel, but the pipes leading into it are still old. That makes some sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Wow.
Yeah. So I caught that. And then is that, we get that settled and then trying to figure out medication. It was throwing me into depression again. I was really getting super depressed through my job performance. And I always made my number, and none of those guys knew I had MS for the longest time. And then finally I had to let it out, and because they couldn't, help. How would that look if you let me go?
Yeah.
Well, so we got that under control somewhat. And then about maybe less than a year ago, God, I'm probably missing some other ones I've done. I was heading myself back down to Laredo for a show. I had a show to do for 2 days down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt something weird. And I thought, because I'm a diabetic also, that my blood sugar was dropping. So I stopped and ate. I thought, okay, I feel a little better. Got going, started down. I'm about an hour away from Laredo. And I called my wife, just enough to be able to call her. I said, and I remember saying, I think, and then they found me on the highway. I was diagnosed. They put me in the hospital, and literally they said I passed out while driving, basically on the highway.
Wow.
And they found out I had dysautonomia. So it's a form. What it is, it attacks. They call it POTS. Some people call it POTS.
Yeah. Okay.
My blood pressure will not rise. So when I sit down, I'm okay.
Okay.
Enough. It'll still stay low. When I stand up, it drops. Or when I'm laying down, it stays okay. When I sit up, it starts to drop. When I stand up, I pass out.
Holy shit!
I got that under control. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got that going on and MS. That's crazy.
But the crazy thing is, more than anything, let me go back a little bit, because I kind of did jump forward. That's why I'm on this new medication.
No, you're fine.
So in 2000, I think it was COVID, 2000, I was off one day. My wife said, to come down, hey, your new work computer's here. So I said, okay, let's open it up. So I started to open it up. She goes maybe 10 steps away from me with her back to me into the living room. And all I remember is waking up, and she's crying.
Jeez.
I busted my head open so bad.
Oh, jeez.
That with the autodysnomia that we found out that's happened, that my blood pressure was dropping. They couldn't get a pulse. They finally brought when 911 showed up, or or everyone. I was going in and out of consciousness, and they said, we're rushing him. We're taking him to BAMC.
Mm.
And then they ended up taking me to university, to the resuscitation. And hold on, just give me a second.
Yeah, you're fine, dude. You're fine. You're fine. Take all the time you need, man. Take all the time you need, Jeff.
When I was laying there, I kept going in and out of consciousness. I remembered so clearly, in that, the big light and everything above you. That light, as I closed my eyes, I'd see it. I'd be like, oh my God. I'm like, this is what they talk about when you die.
Yeah.
It just runs through my head, all these things. And for some reason, this thing, I kept seeing stuff built, like how things are built from the inside out. It was like, you died, because that's an unnormal way of looking at things. I don't know. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
So a couple week or two later, I'm working from home because we weren't allowed to travel due to COVID, and I'm standing at the local gas station, and I used to have to stand 6 feet apart, and I'm just standing there in a long line, and I see people picking up like beers or drinks, and they get tired and they'd send them back down and leave or whatever. And it hit me like, how is COVID really being spread?
Yeah.
The guy behind the counter, he's wearing a mask, but when everyone leaves the store, I guarantee he takes it off. Or is he sick and he's got it, but he can't take off because he's an hourly worker and he can't lose a day. But but he doesn't wear gloves on his hands. So he takes anything you put in a plastic bag. So he just touched everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I thought, oh my God. And then it hits me. I went to the local hobby, whatever place, and bought me some clay.
Yeah.
I started fiddling around with it in my little office, which I call my studio now. It's called Share a Smile Studio.
Okay.
And I actually sculpted the canitizer. I saw it visually in my head. Like every night I would see it. And then I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
So mentally, I started really getting into mental stuff. And then February 14th of that following year,
That was in like 2020.
It was actually 2000, I think, same year or a couple months apart or whatever. It snowed in Texas, like shut Texas down for a week. No electricity, no heat, no nothing, no food.
I remember that.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went up in my office with my flashlight and my phone, picked up some clay, had a bunch of clay sitting there, went downstairs, got with my dog under a bunch of blankets, and we have 4 rescue dogs. One I will call her mine because of her attitude that, got to win at everything.
Nice.
And sat there and I sculpted a face and don't know why. I don't even know why. And never been so at peace. I put on, and a lot of people might laugh, but I love to listen to Johnny Mathis or Engelbert Humperdinck.
Mm-hmm.
His flow, his music, his everything. I felt like this is no social media. There's no one calling me, interrupting me, and how peaceful I felt. It's sculpting.
Yeah.
And then it took off, and I started doing stuff for like the Uvalde shooting, the little girl with the green Converse with the heart. I met her mother, Mikey. Her name is Mikey's mother, and sculpted with some of my first sculptures. And I gave one to her, just to show her that you're in our hearts, and we can't understand what you're going through, but we can sure be there for you.
Yeah, I saw some of your sculptures that you did, that you've completed, and I'm blown away at the talent that you found that you have after diagnosis with MS. And if everybody can understand, when you have MS, your hands a lot of times do not work very well. And Jeff's hands do not work very well. And this guy is an incredible sculpture artist. His work is phenomenal. And I want you to talk about how you use that as your release, Jeff, and just continue on. I want to make sure that everybody knows that you are a self-taught sculptor and a badass sculptor too. But yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I appreciate all those kind words. And yes, the sculpting thing, it's funny you asked that, how it helps, because my son will come over and see me. He said, Dad, you always got clay in your hands. You're always just messing with it. I said, it helps me keep my hands loose. I think when we talked earlier, I use those massagers.
Yeah.
Because through sculpting, my hands will get a little tight, just keep putting the stuff on the same motion and everything.
Yeah.
And I literally have been through those hand massagers. I think in the last couple of years, I've burned up 10 of them. And I'm talking about all day long. When it's fully charged, I'm rubbing, watching TV, talking to it's all day. It's all over my body.
Yeah.
And it helps me function. But through sculpting, it helped me, not just keeps my hands and everything, but it helps me mentally.
Absolutely.
It's done things. I think I've told you how I stumbled into meditating.
Yeah.
And I want your listeners never want to know it works for me.
Yeah.
Because how I have opened up myself to change, because I have to change.
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure this mouse trap out, and I don't care what color the mouse trap is, as long as it catches a mouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's taking different medication, being more of an advocate, doing through sculptures, like actually. I'm doing a sculpture right now, which is going to be so unique, and it's going to be dealing with MS. So I'm doing the two hands that'll be sign language hands for MS. The middle of it is going to have the ribbon, and below the ribbon across the front of the two hands will say strong. So it's MS strong.
Yeah.
And then on one of the knuckles, I'm going to have a butterfly that I've done through my Share a Smile collection of sculptures. I'll have a butterfly coming off one of the knuckles. And what I'm going to do when I have it bronze, I'm going to have the butterfly and the ribbon orange, and then we'll have the rest of it patinaed with that classic sculpture look.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be sharp.
It's going to be beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's going to. I'm looking at it right now, and actually, I'm kind of like fiddling with it, like your buddy did doodling, because that's how our minds work.
Yeah,
and if people are interested in them, we'll talk.
Let me explain my buddy real quick. When we were talking earlier, and he was telling me about he's an artist, his sculpting, and the thing that's really cool about this is like he's self-taught. And how old are you, Jeff? 62, right?
62.
62. So he's 62 years old. He self-taught himself how to sculpt, and you just been doing this for how long now? About 5 years?
About 5 years, yeah.
Five years. So
just 5 years.
And to look at his artwork and to know that he has MS and he has the capability of doing this is just mind blowing. And the buddy that I'm talking about, or he was talking about, is my teammate that I played with, Steve Everett, out of Michigan, All-American center, played for the Browns. He was is a phenomenal artist, and it's amazing. It's such an awesome talent to have. And and what Jeff does is it's beautiful. I saw the eagle that you did, and it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, called Saving Freedom.
Yeah.
And that one kind of touched me. And it's really strange how this kind of all evolves. So I did you can go on my page and look at, I did one for the Joe Burrow Foundation.
That thing's awesome too.
To raise money. And through that, I met another individual or family that it's Izzy's Restaurant in Cincinnati. They've been around since 1901.
Mm-hmm.
Just the most amazing, awesome Christian family that you just want to be a part of.
Awesome.
And they asked me if I could do a sculpture of their logo. And I looked at the logo at the outing, and I'm like, let me give it a try. And I literally sculpted their logo. I took a picture and I made it 3D sculpture, what I thought the other side would look like if he was standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on my thing. So with that, it just perpetuated into things, and just bringing me abundance of friendships, relationships, love, support, keeping me from going down the rabbit holes of poor me, like we both do.
Yeah.
We've all been through. I mean, I've been in such bad depression trying to figure it out through the competitiveness of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've been through there. I mean, there's times I wanted to say, it's time to go see Dorothy and Toto, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, right.
I just couldn't deal with it and understand it anymore. But now my support system, my wife, the funniest thing, I have such a wonderful support. The lady knows more about MS than the person that has it. I don't even know the medication. I know Rebit, but everything else, I'll ask her, what's that? How you say that word again? When we went to our last appointment, the last couple appointments with different doctors, my wife looks like my private manager secretary. She has all the MRIs, every test, every blood work, every.
Wow.
And it's funny. Yeah. It's great. I mean, she's the reason why I am who I am today.
Yeah.
She stuck through me through the dumbest, craziest, embarrassing, whatever things I've done to my wife.
Yeah.
And she's a blessing.
Yeah.
And I used to always kid her that I said, the doctor said I have a new disease. It's called bitching wife syndrome, because you're always on me about this, that.
Yeah.
And And it's really blessed wife syndrome.
Amen.
You are very blessed to have a lady and to help you get through all this and understand it and know more about it than you.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a blessing that is beyond blessings.
It is.
Because most people don't like to ride or die, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, financially, egos, through everything. And just talking to you has helped just with be able to express and put it out there. It's helped me get rid of that egotistical way of a competitor I was in, to really understand how to put more energy into positivity and sharing and helping. And, you know, I don't chase a bank account, brother. I chase a life account. And now for some reason, I'm happy with my bank account. It's kind of weird, you know, if I'm,
it's awesome.
You know?
That's an awesome way to look at it, Jeff. That I love it, man. Because I mean, this disease, we're not sitting here as painting a pretty picture. This disease is brutal. And I know that you said you've been married how long now? 37?
30, God, let's see, we're probably 33, 32, 33. Don't get me lying.
Yeah,
94, whatever 94 is.
That's fine. So, but my point is that, you know, I know that in that period of time that, you know, she's seen a lot of bad shit with the MS too. And she, you know, I mean, and that's just awesome that you got that support, because that is so important with this disease, or any chronic disease for that matter.
Yes, 100%. And that's something that, like I say, God gives you something, it takes something, and it gives you room for new things to grow. And that's what this is for me. Talking to you, being an advocate, I think we're advocates trying to do this the right way, going live. And sharing and finding people with we'll just say that has the ego, that doesn't really want to talk but feels comfortable now to let it out because they feel comfortable around us.
Yeah.
Does that make, am I saying it right?
No, that makes perfect sense to me.
We want people to come out and go, man, I whatever, and yeah, probably happened. Yeah. He'll just I think 2 nights ago when I was meditating, my wife said, or I said, did you feel me last night? She goes, that's every night, Jeff. Your legs are jump so quick, like someone hit me with a cattle prop.
Yep.
And it's like, and then my left side every so often gets real. I have to take magnesium now, like a lot, because it helps from the blood, you know, from my stuff from dropping.
Right.
But it helps me from cramping, because I'll feel like I'm getting squeezed so damn tight, and I have to use my massager and try to get that out and get that feeling away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's PMA. We got to keep that positive mental attitude.
You do.
We got to share what we know, help each other out.
Yep.
And
there's such a community,
bring awareness.
And there's a community out there. You know, there's a lot of MSers out there, like on TikTok, like me and you. You know, Facebook has a lot of groups. You know, even if you're new in this diagnosis, I would say that the biggest mistake that, well, I mean, I didn't have the internet around back when I got diagnosed, but I mean, I didn't want to talk to anybody about this disease. And I think that was a big mistake on my part. Just finding somebody that can relate to what you're going through makes it so much easier, just to understand this disease a little bit better, you know, because if you talk to somebody that's had it for 10, 20, 15 years and you're just new, you know, they can relate to what you're going through right now.
Exactly. What you're going to have through insurance, what you're going to have through this, maybe the medication, you know, like Rebif, what did it do to you? Well, this what, you know, share what the side effects are, what to expect. Because if you know the fight before you get into the fight, it's a lot easier to fight the fight.
Absolutely.
And that's what this is all about. You know, as my son said to me, Dad, your goal today is to just get 1% better.
Yep.
And that's where the body, mind, heart, and soul came into. So by doing that and sharing what you're doing, Brian, and we're going to connect the dots. I'm on a mission. I'm on a quest.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say on every time I put it out, share a smile with someone. Yep. It's free.
Yep.
You know,
and I love that. And you know what I think, man. I think that me and you are going to combine together, and we're going to show an Ohio State fan and a Michigan alum, football alum, can get together and do some damage with spreading awareness with MS.
Oh, I'm all about it. And as you know, as we talked, I just happen to be blessed. And I'll just say in society's statures, people call them celebrities. I'm not mentioning anyone. I just want to say just through my meeting people and my brother and people like you and just the trickle effect. I think there's some people we can get and possibly help get behind us with this movement and bring athletes, young kids that are, and it doesn't even have to be that. It could be any other thing that they're going through because MS relates to so many different things that other people don't actually have the disease, but they have anxiety, they have depression, they have drinking problems, they have things, and it all stems back. We got to figure out, as you said when you worked in the criminal justice system like I did.
Mm-hmm.
The worst person that we've ever seen in our careers at one time did believe in Santa Claus. I promise you.
Yeah. Yep.
We as a society have got to figure out, where did he fall out of grace? Why? I mean, the kid didn't come into this world knowing how to be that. He saw it. Where? Why? There's so many theories, and that's just for a different pair.
Yeah.
But my premises is with the disease with MS, we got to be in any other disease and problems through that you're dealing with personal. We can, as a community, maybe guide or help or shed light. It's like when my children call, usually sometimes I'll say, do you want me to listen? Just listen and let you talk and rant, or do you want me to listen and give advice? And I said, if you want me to give you advice, the only one advice that is good is the one you actually listen to.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Jeff, that's just, I can't even comment on how awesome that what you just said is. Great. Jeff, what if you want to, and the other thing that I just love about you that, after meeting you, it's like, we as soon as we started talking and we got that relationship that we both played D1 football and you played for Tressel, and I was just like, holy crap, that is just so cool. And just got to know you, and you're a Buck fan, and none of that crap even really matters in the long run because we're on the same page with the MS. And, we can come together and still be partners with this. And, because we're all in this. It doesn't matter if you're an Ohio State fan, a Michigan fan, or if you're from the UK, or if you're from California or China or whatever. Man, MS affects everybody all over the world. And, we just all got to come together and spread the awareness. Like, hey, this is what this disease is all about. Let's understand it a little bit better.
100%. And you said it excellent, about, the Ohio State and all that. That's what is so cool is that football, all the celebrity, it's pure entertainment for dopamine. Okay. What gets your dopamine? Yep. But when MS and certain diseases hit you personally, you don't care what color the mousetrap is, as long as it catches a mouse. Yeah. And we're looking to share, our struggles together, what works for me, massaging artwork with clay. It's called plastiline. It's a non-sulfur plastiline. It never dries. I can manipulate it, and I use that with my hands, like massage, and just keep my hands loose. Not a tennis ball because it's too hard to crush for me. Mm-hmm. And you said it perfectly. It's just showing the world, and people the awareness and. As strong as our rivalries are, the love is stronger, and the sharing it and helping is stronger than entertainment. If that makes any sense.
No, yeah,
right.
It makes perfect sense to like I said. I mean, if you played at Ohio State and I played against you, and you wanted to come on my show because you have MS, I would have been like, game on, let's go. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're white, black. It does not matter. I mean, we're in this together, and I just want to let everybody know that this isn't a death sentence. You can manage it. You got to customize it. And, you know, sometimes you're going to have to flip the script because you're going to get behind the chains and, you know, you got to figure it out. You got to figure shit out.
Every day. And you know, that's it. It's, here's, I think, mentally what I've switched my brain and it's helped me is it's no longer a problem. It's a situation. And we, as free will that we were naturally born with, we have the free will to say it beats me or it doesn't beat me. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's going to beat you, well, I'll tell you, just go ahead and live the miserable negative vibration of life or jump on the train with us and we're going to fight together.
Amen.
And that's where you bring a true brother, sisterhood community together. And when your cup's overrunning, let other people drink. So if I figure out a way of feeling better, I share it. Don't hold it to yourself or, through my sculpting or, you know, my family, my wife and I are eventually through my patent and everything. If I can get, you know, enough income to live on, pay for medication, live, you know, and leave some generational wealth to my family and my, you know, because of what they're going through and things, mm-hmm. That's my ultimate goal. But then let other people drink too, through what we're trying to do with us moving to a smaller house, no stairs, and build me a 40 by 40 studio. But that takes money.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah,
that's what sculpting is going to do. But gives me a place to be to get on and talk about MS. Have a nice little studio. You know, retired doing this. But the craziest thing is doing it the right way, is sticking with it. I don't do anything halfway. You win. If we start, we have to win the battle. I'm sorry, guys.
And that's the football in us, man, because I'm the same way. You know what? You might get me on a series, but I'm going to come back again and on the next series, and I'm going to beat your ass. And I take that
exactly,
and I take that attitude with MS. You know, I'm like, you know what? Oh yeah, you got me on this one, man. Well, come on, let's go. I'm only in the third quarter of this game. You know, I got a little bit of time on the clock, and I'm gonna keep on going until the final whistle, brother.
Oh, brother. When I played against Northern Iowa, I was telling you an incident about me getting moved to DN.
Yeah,
and I've never played today. It was our guy got hurt and I had to jump in real quick on the backside.
Yeah.
I stepped across. I opened up, not keeping my shoulder parallel, but opened up. They did a backside Otis block on me. I got hit so hard by the guard, and as I was falling back, the tackle stepped on me. Mm-hmm. I looked at my coach. He said, "You'll be okay." A couple plays later, I'm doing a backside trail. I see one of those linemen that hit me. I bust him upside his back of his head. I figured, I'll take a penalty.
Hey.
He looked at me. He goes, "Get away from me, you little worm." They beat me so bad. I was getting like out of bounds. They'd hit me out of bounds. That taught me a lesson.
Yeah. That's good.
It was crazy.
That's good shit.
It was, you guys are, you know, what's funny is offensive linemen usually lose their cool.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Comeback.
Oh, come on.
You rarely lose. You guys play with people. We lose our cool because we just can't keep our emotions under control.
Oh, okay. That's better. That's better. I thought you said the offensive linemen lose their cool. I'm like, you're out of your mind, man. We're
you guys are subtle warriors out there. Mine playing people. You guys know. That's why I say you guys are the smartest people on the field. It's just the way you're designed.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with you. I had the opportunity to play with an awesome linebacker, a lot of awesome linebackers, but Eric Anderson won the butt kiss, man. Yeah. That guy was a badass, man. I have all the respect in the world for linebackers. You guys might be 220, but you guys can hit the shit out of a guy coming into the A or B gap.
Well, I'll tell you who I didn't like, and I still don't like them. I don't like DBs. When we already got them tackled, don't come in and hit us in the back to knock the pile down. That hurts. And you're not even tackling. You're coming in with a shoulder on my back.
Yeah. That's good shit.
But, you know, man. It's awesome, man. I actually had a conversation with my 88-year-old mother. I said, Mom, I would not trade my parents or my experience for anything in the world.
Oh, hell no. No, I wouldn't either.
I just, you guys only knew what you knew when you raised us, and you raised me, I thought was great.
Yeah.
And on down the line, in everything I didn't like about it, it was now I look back and I'm trying to learn from the lesson that you guys taught me. We weren't a rich family, blue collar, end up moving into where I lived, they thought was decent living because my mom worked her ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad was still a welder, and
Yeah.
so I saw both sides, the other side of the tracks, but being the stable pony when you needed to be, type of thing. And I've learned a lot, but no, man, this has been so awesome. And,
I would have you on in a heartbeat, brother. I would talk football and MS all day long, and I can sit here and talk all day long too. I'm going to give you one more shot to,
sure.
I'm going to give you one more shot to tell everybody one more statement on MS, and then I'm going to wrap it up. All right.
Yes, great. Hey, if you're having anything, if you're on TikTok or any platform or any thoughts of even you might have some of these symptoms, go get it checked out. Especially women, it's more prevalent in women than men. But guys, I'm telling you, in women also, when they tell you what I call the roto-rooter, if you know what I'm talking about, and they say you're coming up on that time in your life, you need to go get checked, get the colonoscopy. Please do it. I promise you, it's not embarrassing. Just go do it because it might save your life. I promise you.
Absolutely.
This is something that I want to push out to everyone. And Brian, thank you so much, man. I'm going to be a number one fan. We're going to work together.
Yep.
And we're going to get people to get behind us. We need to get this thing out there. And
yep.
Like I said, I'm going to be on every Friday night live talking about living with MS, and let's get a backing and likewise.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. And if you are on TikTok, definitely check out Jeff's his page and his posts, his sculptures, and he does a live. Like he said, he just started getting into the lives, and I'm going to check him out tonight at 8:00 it's Fridays at 8:00. And I can't wait to watch you, dude, because I'm just impressed as hell that you're doing that with MS. Just with MS, any kind of accomplishment that makes you happy with MS is a badass thing that needs to be celebrated. I don't care how big or small it is. You take every positive and you live it like like there's no tomorrow. And you take advantage of it. You take advantage of it, and you never stop that tool you still have until MS says so. You keep on fighting it. That's what I say, brother.
Right on, my brother.
All right, I'm going to get out of here, Jeff. Thank you so much. Follow me on TikTok, MS Michigan 64, also on Instagram. MS Michigan 64, and I'm on Facebook, Brian Wallace out of Brunswick, Ohio. I am out of here. You all have a good day. MS Michigan Man, I am out.